Hey guys, it's Chef Jojo with ECO, and on this episode of Shift Drink, we're going to talk about how you're only as good as your team. And as usual, we're going to discuss this topic over a shift drink. Okay, you're only as good as your team. I really, truly, 100% believe in that. I often, the amount of cooking that I do nowadays is pretty rare, and that pains me. I've had other episodes on it, but anyway, you're only as good as your team. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I started out and I said we have 5 secret ingredients to find success in the kitchen. You can go check it out. We'll post a link below in comments. And then we went into the first one and we talked about that very unsexy topic, food cost and labor cost. And now I think the second most important thing that you could have is a strong team. Now, when I walk around and I talk to the guests and I check on concession stands or I touch tables or anything that involves during the event, and I have somebody go, by the way, the food was incredible on the chef table tonight, I say, thank you so much, I will let the team know. Or if they say, hey, that was a really good, that we're making some hand-dipped fried chicken in one of our concession stands and somebody had it and they're like, holy cow, this is some of the best fried chicken I've ever had. And I'll go, that's awesome, I'll let the team know because they've been working their butts off trying to make it perfect every time. That makes me feel good because I know that when I pass that message on, that they'll feel good about the hard work. But at the same time, I didn't fry the chicken. I just got the team together that can execute the fried chicken. And I know it's something as simple as fried chicken, but that's still not so simple. I mean, there's so many different ways that it can be done. And if you don't have a good team supporting you, then I don't think you're going to get very far in life and especially in this business. I didn't really fully understand that message until later. I often talk about the beginning of my career when I talk to people starting out in the business or culinary students who ask, and I was very intense, to say the least. I often live by the rule if I want it done right, I have to do it myself and all of those things. And that was fine and good in the beginning, right? I had to push myself and figure out what my style was going to be. And I have a certain way of learning, and I found myself doing a lot of hours and a lot of work because I wanted it done a certain way and I wasn't showing anybody. Hell, I really didn't probably realistically know how I wanted it done, so I had to do it myself to figure it out. And then I started to run bigger and bigger operations. And as the operations grew, it pushed me further away. And I think I learned so much more about the business and about teaching and the nuances of it once I started to step back. You have to get down into the granular, if you will, to understand it. But when you start to step back, you really get the opportunity to see how you can influence and change and help others understand and get better. So I really enjoy that. But when you sit down and you're going to build a team and you're looking for some people that are dependable and strong and they can handle the pressure, they can think in time restraints and all of those things that we rely on to be successful in the business, I think we can lose sight of success because you're the chef, you're the manager, and you touch the table and you go, how was everything? And it's like, oh, it was fantastic. Or you're getting your face ripped off. All of it flows right back to what the team did. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And I think, how do you build a good team? Well, I think you need to realize what you are good at. Building a team, there's so many layers to it because you kind of have to have some self-awareness. You have to have some leadership qualities, and we'll talk about that leadership focus later. But how do you sit down and build the team? Well, you can do it off skills. You can do it off, location. You can do it off the attributes that each person has, and you also kind of got to know what you're good at and what you're bad at. And if you're a phenomenal expediter and you're running a small restaurant and you know that you're gonna be on expo because you're gonna be the last gate that the food comes through for inspection, that's great. And if you're really horrible at saute, and when I say horrible, I don't mean you can't get through a night, but there's some guys that are just gifted. I mean, there was a grill guy that I used to work with, and he was phenomenal. Like, it didn't matter how many steaks or chickens or whatever was ordered. He'd have 30, 40 things on the grill, and he was just moving them all over, and he was in the zone. And he's like, oh, mid-well, mid-rare plus, and then he's dropping it down. Here's your rare, here's your well, and like, oh, chicken, da-da-da-da. And he was not a chipped cog in the wheel. He was what drove everybody else, and you could tell it when he walked in the kitchen. So if you can start to identify strong people in their spots and figure out what they're good at, you can build a really good team. And we can start in the kitchen. Let's start in the kitchen. You have a person that can do multiple things at once and is really fast at reading tickets and moving product. Okay, well, maybe we can put more on their station. Maybe they need to work pantry. Maybe because they can handle the cold and hot apps that are coming out and salads, plus desserts, because typically they're all crammed into the pantry. So they can take it on the front and on the back. They can handle like the pressure of, because that's what happens to pantry stations is they get crushed in the beginning. They start to lighten up for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden here come all the desserts, and now you're getting appetizers and desserts at the same time, while saute is only just worrying about entrees and grill's only worrying about entrees. So maybe you need to anchor that spot down if your menu's really focused on appetizers and desserts. But if you're a steakhouse, maybe you need to have 2 grills and you got 2 people working the grill. Whatever it might be, start to design the team around that particular operation. And once you build it, pick people that have really put people in the best opportunities so they can be successful. I think people don't want to do a shitty job. They want to come in and feel good about the work that they do. So find out what they're good at and then get them into that position in the beginning, and then start to pick away at like other things that they could, hey, you're a really great grill guy. Have you ever thought about coming in and maybe helping us do the production during the day so we can get your bulk production skills up? So you're making them more well-rounded, but still letting their strongest skill carry the team. You want everybody to have a sort of an understanding of what the other person's doing so they don't get one-sided and live in their silo. That's the tough thing about kitchens is like, I've seen certain stations, grill, saute, whatever you want, stand over and watch another station crash and burn. And it drives me crazy because as a team, you're failing. Your station might be fine, but as a team, you're failing. So you need to kind of break that barrier, right? And then let's talk about the big divide, that wall that goes between front of house and back of house, right? Especially when there's long ticket times. There's 1,000 memes out there of people just staring. This is the front of house servers and managers like staring at us waiting for the food. Like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And you're just getting crushed, right? There is a divide, but here's the thing. If you have a phenomenal front of house supporting the back of house and the back of house supporting the front of house, it can be absolutely magical. If they don't crush the kitchen by overseating the dining room if possible, they stagger their tables, they stagger their orders. How about this? How about you have a group of servers that are just phenomenal upsellers or salespeople? Not only are they providing an amazing experience for the guests to come in and have the food that you're working your ass off to make, but the servers are selling it in a way that they're buying more product. So instead of a $18 to $26 per cap a night for one person, you're in a $35 or $40 because they're selling wine and the restaurant is more profitable because the sales are helping flush to the bottom line. Now, it's hard to see that. You need both sides. But maybe when you're talking to the servers, you need to figure out what they can sell or what they're good at. Are they really good at big parties? Like we used to have one server at a restaurant I worked at, and he would crush the bigger parties. Like he just came in like a magician and had them all order, 14 or 15 appetizers just to start. And everybody's like, oh, this is great. And he's dropping bottles of wine, and they were just carried away on this whole experience. Then we had servers that couldn't touch a table bigger than 6 or they'd wreck it. but they were really great with 2s and 4s. So they were good with couples. So we really utilized that skill to kind of put them in the right spots. But that was just one restaurant. That was a restaurant that we could manage in a way that it allowed us to, it was small enough to where you could really carve out with a scalpel like your areas of success. None of it's possible if you don't sit down and look at how the team is functioning. And the crazy part is that we, as the leaders in the industry, are people that hire other people. We complain that there's no good help out there. Nobody wants to do what we want to do anymore. But we're not paying what we should be paying. And they should pay the same dues that we had to pay. So that's probably a whole other shift drink. I just know that my success is based on standing on the shoulders of giants. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for working with great people and having a good team surrounding me. So, I mean, I hope that you can find success in helping others and make sure that your team is supporting you. And the way that you do that is that you support them. You know, this is a few minutes on my thoughts on how to get a good team, kind of how to figure out where to start. It starts with that self-awareness, what you're good at, what you need to be successful, what they might need to be successful, and you kind of start to put the jigsaw puzzle together. And then you move pieces around, find out where it goes, and you pat it down and you look back and you go, man, we accomplished a lot. And then how do you get better? I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your thoughts on teamwork. I just recently saw a post like a couple of weeks ago where someone was totally pissed off about the person working next to him with their dirty chicken covered hands trying to mess up their clean station. Our coworkers can make our life amazing, and they can make it absolutely unbearable. But if you can find a good leader that makes a good team, then you will find success. As always, I'm Chef Jojo. You can follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and you can hit the bell below and subscribe on YouTube, and you can catch all these shift drinks when we drop them. If there's anybody that's made a difference in your life or your career and you want to say thank you, please write us a note at chefeco@extremecularyOutfitters.com. You, as the nominator, could win $50 if your letter is selected, and the person you nominated gets $150 worth of ECO gear. That's just an easy way to give back, and that's what Extreme Culinary Outfitters is about, supporting the industry that understands it takes extreme dedication, extreme passion, and extreme sacrifice. Cheers.